Just beautiful. So beautiful.
최종률 완성에 불완전해서 아버지한테 돌려주시는 싸우니 제가 한식을 아버지한테 받은 걸 알고 있사오니 그 뜻대로 모든 생을 정리하는 시간을 정성들의 정리하는 시간을 갖춰가지고 정정으로 몇 시간 국가를 대표할 수 있는 일인데요. 그 일을 다 이뤘다. 다 이뤘다. 아, 정말.
아버지 홀로 가신 그 길 나도 따라가오 모든 물과 피를 흘리신 그 길을 나도 가오 험한 산도 나는 괜찮소 바다 끝이라도 나는 괜찮소 죽어가는 저들 위해 나를 버리길 바라오 아버지 나를 보내주오 나는 달려가겠소 목숨도 아끼지 않겠소 나를 보내주오
Yeah.
험한 산도 나는 괜찮소
One from the movie.
바다
I like the one
끝이
from the
나는
I think what's
괜찮소
James Thomas.
죽어가는 저들을 위해 나를 버리길 바라오 아버지 나를 보내주오 나는 달려가겠소 목숨도 아끼지 않겠소 나를 보내주오
Good morning, everyone. I am Gail Veith, the Regional Coordinator of the International Association of First Ladies for Peace. We are the Holy Community of Barbados, hosting this 190th morning devotion. Welcome to our leaders, blessed families, and brothers and sisters attending, especially those joining for the first time. I'm very happy to see all of you and to start this new day with God's blessing and grace together as a region. Our opening statement is, today, on the 8th day of the 11th month by the heavenly calendar, in the 9th year of Chanilgut, December 11th, 2021, on the daily morning reading Hundoke session 190, we offer our devotion for a hopeful church. Let us greet our true parent. Tanji in Chambuminim K, Kyambe Baro. Now we will recite Family Pledge number 6. Our family, the owner of Chanil Guk, pledges to become a family that moves heavenly fortune by embodying the heavenly parent and true parent, and to perfect a family that conveys heaven's blessing to our community by centering on true love. For this morning's representative prayer, I would like to invite our precious and dear sister, Mrs. Cheryl Evelyn. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Sister Gail. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Please join me in prayer. Good morning, Heavenly Parent and true parents of all humankind. We are thankful for another day, for your love, your many blessings. Thank you for our true mother and the tireless work that she is doing to save and establish peace and love for all humanity. Thank you for our brothers and sisters here today. And thank you for their families as we participate in today's session. Thank you for strength and wisdom, love, life, and lineage as we share and support towards one family under God. I report this prayer in my name and our family name, Cheryl and Michael Evening, blessed thankful family. Aju.
Aju. Thank you, Cheryl. And now we have another Cheryl that will be giving our offering the reading this morning. Welcome, Cheryl. So Cheryl is waiting for the script.
Just a moment, please.
Okay, we are very patient. There we go. Okay, Cheryl, you can read the title.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. The title is True Families Create True People. My wife, Hak Jahan Moon. The first time I saw my wife, she was a young girl of 14 and had just graduated from elementary school. She was a quiet girl who never raised her voice and never sought to bring attention to herself. She always took the same route to and from the church. When she was first introduced to me, I was told she was the youngest of one of our church members, Mrs. Sonia Hong. What's your name? I asked her. My name is Hak Jahan, she answered with a clear voice. In that moment, before I knew what was happening, I said, so Hak Jahan has been born in Korea. I said this 3 times in repetition and then prayed, saying, God, thank you for sending to Korea such a wonderful woman as Hak Jahan. I then looked at her and said, Hak Jahan, I'm afraid you're going to have to do a lot of sacrificing. All of these words came out of my mouth spontaneously. Later, Mrs. Hong told me that she thought it strange that I would say the same thing 3 times after meeting her daughter for the first time. My wife has told me that she also remembers that first short meeting. She told me she remembers everything that I said then, as if I had delivered a sermon just for her, and she kept it in her heart. She said she felt like she had received an important revelation about her future, and that she could not forget. Her mother was from a faithful Presbyterian family, so she was raised in a Christian home. Her hometown was Jeongju, which is my hometown as well, but she had lived in Anju until coming to South Korea during the Korean War. When Mrs. Hong first began attending our church, she lived a very faithful life in Chuncheon and raised her daughter strictly. My wife attended a nursing school that was operated by the Catholic Church. I am told that the rules of this school were so strict that it was as if she were living in a convent. She had a gentle character, and during the time she was raised by her mother, she never went anywhere except to school and to our church. I was 40 at the time, and I sensed that the time had come for me to marry. All I needed to do was wait for God to tell me the time has come, so get married. And I would do as I was told. Sung Doji, an elderly woman in our church, began an effort in October 1959 to prepare for my engagement, even though there was still no bride to be. Another church member who had been praying for 7 years about a wife for me told me one day that she had had a dream in which she saw that Hak Jahan was my wife. Another church member, Mrs. G, told me about a strange dream she had. What kind of dream is this? She explained. I saw hundreds of cranes come flying. I tried to wave them away with my arms, but they kept coming and they finally covered you with their white feathers. Is this some kind of omen for the future? The Hak in Hak Jahan is the Chinese character for crane. Then Hak Jahan had a dream in which I appeared and told her, the day is near, so make preparations. My wife later told me that in her dream she said to me in a humble tone, I have been living until now in accordance with the will of God. In the future as well, I will follow God's will as his servant, no matter what that will may be. A few days later, after my bride-to-be had this dream, I asked Mrs. Hong to bring her daughter to me. This was our first meeting since I had been introduced to her at age 14. That day, I asked this young lady many questions. In every case, she responded with composure and spoke clearly. In this meeting, I asked my wife to draw a picture. Without hesitation, she picked up a pencil and started drawing on a sheet of paper. When she had finished and placed her picture before me, I was very impressed by what I saw. I then looked at her face and her shy expression was very beautiful. Her heart was as wonderful as the picture she had drawn. We were engaged on March 1960 and had our marriage ceremony barely 2 weeks later on April 11th. I did not set a date at the time, but when I called Miss Han several days later, I told her, tomorrow morning, we will have a marriage ceremony. She responded simply, "Is that so?" and did not ask any questions or try to speak in opposition. She seemed incapable of opposition. That was how pure and gentle she was. Then, as now, when it comes to the will of God, she has a strong determination. I wore a samakwande, the formal dress of court officials now commonly used in traditional wedding ceremonies, and she wore a traditional Korean attire that included a jokdori bridal tiara. My bride, who was 17 and more than 20 years younger than I, looked confident and radiant with her tightly closed lips and pretty face. During the ceremony, I told my bride that she was about to embark on a difficult course. I think you are already aware that marrying me will not be like any other marriage. We are becoming husband and wife to complete the mission given to us by God to become true parents, and not to pursue the happiness of two individuals, as in the case with other people in this world. God wants to bring about the kingdom of heaven on the earth through a true family. You and I will travel a difficult path to become true parents who will open the gates to the kingdom of heaven for others. It is a path that no one else in history has traveled, so even I don't know all that it will involve. During the next 7 years, you will experience many things that will be difficult to endure. Don't forget, even for a moment, that the life we live is different from others. Don't do anything, no matter how trivial, without first discussing it with me, and obey everything I tell you. She responded, "My heart is already set. Please do not worry." I could see in her expression that she had made a strong determination. Her difficult challenges began the day after our marriage. The first difficulty she faced was that she could not see her mother, my wife, her mother, and her maternal grandmother. Sorry, my wife, her mother, and her maternal grandmother were all only daughters. As a result, the relationship between mother and daughter was particularly strong. In order to take on a public mission and develop the proper focus, I asked her to live what amounted to an ascetic life for 3 years. That meant she could not see her mother or any of her relatives for 3 years. She lived in a room rented from a church member. She came to the church no more than once a day, usually in the evening. So as not to create disruption, she left through the back door. I was often involved in worship services or praying through the night and was rarely at home. But the separation was not for practical reasons. The separation was to establish a spiritual condition of unconditional devotion to her mission. As the outrageous rumors about me continued to circulate, this separation from her relatives and me made it even more difficult for my young wife to endure. At the time of our marriage, the Unification Church already had been established in 120 communities around Korea. Even in our church, however, there were those who were critical of our marriage. Some envied her, some hated her, and many stories circulated. As if that were not enough, she lived in someone else's home. Older women of our church followed me everywhere I went. Eventually, my seemingly cold treatment of my wife brought an end to all the criticism and envy against her. In fact, people began to sympathize with her. For example, many members criticized me when I couldn't go to see my wife, even though she was suffering postpartum illness and was shivering in an unheated room after the birth of our first daughter. Some of them said, "How can he even call himself her husband?" "You're going too far, sir," I was told. "If you married her, you should live with her. What are you doing, making it difficult for her even to see your face?" The people who had been criticizing my wife, one by one, began to take her side instead. In spite of her young age, it was necessary that my wife receive harsh training. During the time we lived together, her environment was relentless. She never even had a single free moment for herself. She constantly was on edge, as if she were walking on a thin layer of ice, wondering, will today be peaceful? Will tomorrow be peaceful? Because she had to attain God's standard of motherly love, I corrected her for even a single wrong word. Sometimes even her affection for me had to be curtailed for the sake of her eternal mission. It was all necessary for her to become true mother. But I am sure it caused much grief in her heart. I might say a word in passing and not think much of it. She, however, had to harmonize herself with my every word. So I am sure her suffering was great. It took us 7 years to conform ourselves to each other. I relate these things because the most important thing in a marriage relationship is trust. It is what makes it possible for two people to become as one. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl, for this incredible story and for reading it so well. And now it is my pleasure to welcome up our precious Reverend Peter Phillips. He is an expert at our church history, and I'm very proud and happy to welcome him. Thank you, Reverend Phillips.
Thank you, Gary. Good morning, brothers and sisters. 안녕하세요.
안녕하십니까?
Buenos dias. Bonjour. Good morning. I'm happy and thankful for Heavenly Parent and true parents for giving the Republic of Barbados the opportunity to host Conduct here this morning. I want to thank our sister Gail for her wonderful introduction, Sister Cheryl Hamshaw for her reading, Cheryl Evelyn for her wonderful prayer. All leaders, brothers and sisters around the world, I want to thank you and greet you. At this time, I'd like to share with you a few PowerPoints, a continuation of what I was doing the last two sessions. As you would know, Barbados is now a republic. And this took effect on the very day that Barbados became independent, November 30th. Through the years, we were privileged to have had the Interreligious Association for Parliamentarian of Peace inaugurated in Barbados. And we were privileged to have the presence of our very Dr. Yang, original leader, and as well as our Korean national messiah in Barbados at the time. This event, I'm proud to say that our sister Gail and Gary did a very wonderful job in bringing these parliamentarians together. It might not have been what we wanted at the time because the time was short, but in fact, we were still able to pull it off. Thank you so much, Sister Gail. This is my family. One of the things I have been trying to do throughout my life in the church is to bless my brothers and sisters and my family. So many times what I would do on my birthdays I will invite my brothers and sisters, my niece and nephews, cousins, to come to the headquarters to celebrate the day with me. But the objective was to bless them in some way or in some form. That I did. So in this picture, you will see myself up front, my mom behind me, and then my brothers and sisters. There are 4 boys and 4 girls, and their children here present as well. In this picture here is one evening we would have had a lecture session. And we invited some friends and family. And this is something we were doing on a weekly basis, every evening at 7 o'clock. We were privileged in 2014 to have had a young group from America who came to Barbados and to spend, I think, 21 days. During that time, they did a lot of work around the island. They visited churches, schools, community centers. They painted, they lectured, they performed, did a wonderful job in encouraging our young people to participate in God's will. Our young group back in the day, this is our young set of children. This is our brother, young Tariq, who is about 8 years old at the time. So Tariq is what, 17 years of age now. He's a recipient of a scholarship. And he says to me, Uncle Peter, one day I will lead a church in Barbados. And I'm quite happy that he has that kind of determination because he's a very serious young man. So Lloyd Sandiford, he was the first president of UPF in Barbados. And because of his tedious work, our sister Cheryl Humshaw offered him a gift at that time. So Lloyd now is now 86 years of age, and he's not in the best of health. But I still do my best to keep in contact with him, even during this COVID-19 situation. This is one of our sessions I would have had at the Ministry of Education boardroom. We were invited many clergy and lay people in the island to come to one of our lectures. I mean, it was one of the best lectures we have had, or attendance of lectures we have had, because we had over people. I was somewhat surprised that so many people showed up at short notice, but it was well attended. This is a blessed assembly we've had at the V's residence. And even although it was small, it was the gesture of the hard work that Gail has invested in going out and put bless. And so then my wife and I were called in to officiate on this blessing. Again, thank you, Sister Gail, for your hard work. And these are some of the people that I have gone to their homes and blessed them independently. This picture, this one will bring tears to my eyes, because on my left is our former national leader, Rohan Joint, and his family, accompanied by Reverend Lee. Our brother Rohan would have passed away on April 29th, 2013. In the picture, we were seeing Bishop Kim from North America, Dr. Donovan Cox, the Reverend Edmund Barnett, and myself. We would have officiated at his Sungwa.
It's very moving because we all miss Rohan very much. He was the national leader of Barbados, and then he passed away. So the brothers and sisters in Barbados miss him very much. So it's quite moving for us Because we
Yeah.
feel like his spirit is with us.
Anyhow, we were able to meet one of our ministers in government in the office, the Gale family and myself, and we were able to present father speeches to her. This lady is very outstanding and very determined. She works with poverty alleviation, and she promised that she would do her best to help us in our work. Miss Cynthia Ford is her name. And this is also one of our lecture sessions that we've had, that we normally have on evenings. This picture, am I right? I normally will go to schools every year, and I will speak to the young children, age 11, just before they enter secondary school. I will outline to them the importance of morality, of dignity, and uprightness. And most of all, I will be teaching them conflict resolution and anger management, how best they can resolve situations. However, on my left, our first Peace Road rally. In the picture, we have 3 ministers who attended. And again, I have to hand it to Sister Gail. When I tell you determination, this young lady is very determined. She stops at nothing. The picture here, we have a meeting with members of the Hindu temple. And one of the first presidents of the interreligious community in Barbados, Dr. Lakshman Kusum, who passed away, his brother, and Monsignor Harcourt Blackett, the Catholic priest, and my wife and I came from work that evening straight to the session, and we were well invited at the Hindu temple. At another church where I was given a sermon, this is a congregation as they're celebrated and they dance and they sing at the Gospel Church. And before I go any further, I want to say that some years ago, Father said to us that we have to reach out to the clergy. And so then I took it for myself to engage in a more public life. I became a priest, enrolled into the Theological Seminary in Barbados, ordained as a reverend. And so then, in order to teach these people, I had to know what they were teaching. So this opportunity gave me that chance to go to many churches around Barbados and to preach, or to go to their pulpits and preach. And in preaching, I would have spoken much about our true parents and the work that is being done. In this picture, 2 of my school colleagues who are also reverends. In the middle, the Bishop Kenrick Ward. He attended the conference we had in Brazil some years ago. And next to him, Mr. Glenn Ward. He's an older person to be here, but he's also a reverend. So again, one of my objectives is to reach out to the churches through the reverends. And in so doing that, I can get to the congregation. To my right, Pastor Bishop is her name. We went to her church and we gave a blessing there. And one of our lecture sessions here at the center, Sister Cheryl, always with smiles. And this picture, last year, Sister Gail and myself and Gary, we took a group of parliamentarians and clergy to the conference in Korea, the summit. And the lady here, Ms. Gershine Carter, she is the newspaper editor. And Geraldine came back to Barbados and she posted these pictures in her column. And I received so many calls from people in Barbados. Wow, I never realized that UPF does such good work around the world. So there's people like her that we need to work with to continue to promote our organization in Barbados. So Sister Gail again, I don't know where to get this strength from, but Sister Gail again is the coordinator and the promoter of this lady in doing her work. Thank you again, Sister Gail. One of our meetings, interfaith meetings at the Hindu temple, various religious organizations gathered there that day. And these two young ladies said to me, Reverend Phillips, will we get blessed one of these days? I said, when you grow up. The two outstanding young ladies. Again, reaching out to the clergy. Here's Sister Gail and Brother Gary again. We are meeting with the head of the Anglican Church. He is a top. And next to him is his deputy. So I can tell you again, when Gail called me up, Reverend Phillips, we have a meeting with the Bishop of Barbados. Can you come? I had no choice but to get to the meeting. Again, he promised that he would work along with his colleagues in promoting peace and working along with FFWPU in Barbados. Only last week, she again contacted the leader of the Muslim community in Barbados, and we had a meeting in his office. So I can tell you that even although I may be the national leader of Barbados, Sister Gail is the hardest working person in Barbados. I'll be honest with you, there was a time we had a lot of conflicts, and Gail took it with stride. She never complained, and I'm just fretting and angry. Why? But she showed me the heart of humility. So I had no choice but to change my attitude and my approach and to unite with her. Thank you so much, Gail, for your hard work. National Action Plan for Barbados. Environment for Witnessing, Raise a Future Leader, and Witnessing. For Plan 2021 is to visit homes, churches, and work with the social media. Between 2021 and 2023, we visited homes again, churches, and again using the social media. We are as between 2023 and 2027, we continue to witness, give lectures, and conduct workshops. In so doing, our objective is to embrace and enhance the thoughts and the belief and understanding of our people so that they can come to understand and accept our true mother as the only begotten daughter of God. I thank you very much. God bless you. Have a wonderful and a blessed day.
Thank you very much for that incredible and very detailed report. As I said, Reverend Phillips is an expert at the history of Barbados. And now he has me embarrassed and humbled because he praised me so much. But I'm just a desperate housewife and who loves Father very much. And that is what motivates me. Make God happy, make Father happy. So thank you very much. And now we will have a unison prayer. So let's pray together. Okay. Okay, so my husband is telling me that Cheryl's daughter was in that picture also. Gary says, Cheryl that gave the reading this morning, her daughter was in the group picture at the World Summit.
Okay.
So this has been a wonderful service and we thank you very much. All those joining us for the first time, we hope that you'll join us every morning. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Muy buenos días, queridos hermanos y hermanas. Muchísimas gracias por participar en la sesión 190 del Mundo Que Matutino. Muchísimas gracias a nuestros hermanos y hermanas de Barbados, lo hicieron muy bien. A Barbados nosotros, Saranhamnida. Kamsahamnida.
감사합니다.
Sugohesubnida. Muchísimas gracias, reverendo Philip, por sus palabras tan conmovedoras. Apreciamos mucho. Por favor, démosle a todo el grupo anfitrión de Barbados un caluroso aplauso.
Thank you, Barbados. Great job.
Hola.
달걀 박수입니다. 손바닥을 오므려 박수 쳐주세요. 중풍과 치매 예방에 도움이 되는 박수입니다. 목 뒤 박수입니다. 목 뒤에서 손을 모아 박수 쳐주세요. 이상 건강박수였습니다.
주기 위한 그래서 여러분의 건강을 도와주기 위한 신건강법을 내가 개발했어요. 비디오를 통해서 보여줄 거예요.
Vamos, moviéndonos. Let's move. Una vez más, muchísimas gracias, preciosos hermanos y hermanas de nuestra sagrada comunidad de Centroamérica y el Caribe y otros países que nos acompañan siempre en el Mundo KEP. Muchísimas gracias, que tengan un grandioso día, and God bless you. Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you very much, Barbados.
We meet you. Let's meet tomorrow again.
Gracias, señor Eliezer, por su trabajo.
Yes.
Patricia.
Muchas gracias.
Oh, dear Patricia, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you. Gracias, Barbados. Sister Gail, thank you so much.
Thank
Wonderful
you, everybody.
Okay,
Guys,
bye-bye.
Monse.
have a nice, wonderful day. Be healthy. Great job.
Dear Sister Cheryl,
Okay.
thank you for your bouquet.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Sharon.
Touch our heart.
Glorias, good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Dear
Patricia.
brother, my
Yeah,
friend,
really.
안녕하세요.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. 감사합니다.
장만해요.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank
Good
you.
day.
King. Kim, thank you so much.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Have a nice day.
Sharon.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Cheryl. Bye, Gail.
Hi,
Bye.
Cheryl. Bye, Gail.
Pastor Phillips.
Morning,
Buenos
Reverend
días,
Sue.
Thank
Sagrada
you so much, Sister
Comunidad.
Gail.
Thank you. Wonderful report.
Buenos días.
Buen día.
Hola,
Reverend
Susan,
Leonidas.
Zaira, Gastón.
Tengan buen día.
Buen día, Nita.
Buenos
Buen día,
días.
Eliezer.
Good morning,
Reverend Remy Tupier.
Ánimo, hoy y siempre. Dios lo bendiga a todos.
Reverend Tupier. Good morning.
Hi, Remy.
Nice to see you again.
everybody. We love you.
We
Thank
Love
love
you.
you
you too.
too.
We love you, Trip.
Have a blessed day.
Love you, Five.
You.
Panama.
Por siempre.
¿Qué dices?
Morning.
Pensé que le...
No.
Have a wonderful day.
Oh, this is
Oh,
Masako.
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 Poor arm.
Thank you so much,
Wow.
Cheryl, I'm sure. Hey, folks, here's my wife. She's
Are you
showing her
okay?
hand.
Please take care. We love you.
Better soon.
Un hermoso día para todos. Felicidades.
My wife is still paying indemnity.
Americato, thank you.
Yes. She's probably used to of her right hand.
Oh, my Milton, how are you?
You think you read it right?
Oh, my brother.
Oh, I want to know if he brought her hand, right? Oh,
The wrist is
No,
fractured.
yeah.
well, you wasn't. Right, I remember.
Everybody.
What is your hand? What your hands?
Bendiciones para todos.
Good evening. We're gonna come and prepare some Christmas food for us. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a blessed day. God bless you all. Thank you so much for attending.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hi, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
See you tomorrow.
Yes, please.
Tomorrow. One of them makes you so hot. Yeah.
Let's meet again tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes.
Elliot.
Tomorrow. Neil Tachi Manapchida. Neil Do Manapchida.
Neil Tashi